Welcome, ladies and gents, boys and girls, to the inaugural episode of the inaugural season of Hurt Radio, as we bring forth to you broadcast live here on this radio station of our home here of the city beautiful of Orlando, Florida. Everything Hurt business, boxing, mixed martial arts, you name it, with a touch, with a pinch of entertainment. Starting off with today's episode of Hurt Radio of the inaugural season of the first episode of Hurt Radio. We want to express to you and bring forth our opinions as we were there live at No Load Cajun Country, New Orleans, for the sights and sounds, the spectacle, the spectacular, if you will, of what was WrestleMania 30, and prior to that, experiencing live, VIP style, if you will, WrestleMania Access. As you care to share with the audience out there, that feeling, that buzz that it was experiencing live, first and foremost, WrestleMania Access, and then leading into the spectacle, the spectacular, if you will, the grandeur that was the experience that was WrestleMania 30.
Oh, it was simply fantastic. If you haven't done it, at least do it once. It's definitely worth it. I had like such fun with it. The one thing I have to say bad about it is that they don't give you enough time. That's the sad thing. I think like 4 hours.
Not enough hours for the Access experience, but if you're gonna do it VIP. Although I feel they should add an additional hour. Not enough hours, in my opinion, in our view, in the WrestleMania or SummerSlam Access experience. I don't know how to do it in SummerSlam, but this has been our second WrestleMania Access experience, and 4 hours is just not enough. Maybe 5 or 6 hours, but 4 hours, nah.
I know, because it's just too long. He did manage to meet 3 people: Biggie Langston, Sin Cara, aka Hucho, and
the Irish hooligan himself, Sheamus.
So he was great. He even apologized for the long wait. I don't know, because of that, I had to be very structured. But other than that, it was nice. There was a lot to do, a lot to see. We went to the graveyard, which was nice.
Newsflash, and for those who don't know, or if you haven't heard already, Brock Lesnar's Paul Heyman's client broke the record, snapped the WrestleMania streak at WrestleMania 30 that was once held by of The Undertaker.
I know, these last 2 Raws, my God, it's like he just forgot how to talk. It's like that's all he can. He became like a broken record. That's all he can freaking say. Yes, we know that. You can just try to move on to bigger, better things, but you just keep bringing it up. Like, it only just,
yeah, who's writing his scripts nowadays?
Seriously. I don't know if any of his scripts or if he's doing it himself, but, okay, after Extreme Rules, he said it a few more times after that. Okay, it's been a month. It needs to stick. It gets old quick, and it needs to stop. Because seriously, I just want someone to just punch you in the mouth because it's getting annoying.
Yeah. But if you didn't know, now you know. Brock Lesnar, the client, along with the Swiss Superman Cesaro, at WrestleMania 30th on April 6th, snapped the winning WrestleMania streak of the Taker.
But going on that real quick, it was shocking though live, because at first I thought they botched it, meaning that wrestling turned and he screwed it up. But no, it was.
It felt so surreal.
It did feel surreal. And I think what didn't help was it didn't show a replay, because when the women's match, which was the women gauntlet match, which happened next, people were still booing, demanding a replay. Taker got screwed. For those of you who have the WWE Network or considering getting it, should get it, because it's only $10, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The atmosphere was just so upsetting. But
I would grade our WrestleMania experience an A or A-. It was a legend was born in Daniel Bryan. I must say kudos to him. Yes, indeed. WrestleMania was born with his epic matchup against Hunter and his epic triple threat match against he performed later on, main eventing WrestleMania along with Randy Orton and Batista.
Which nobody was feeling.
Yeah. And it was just an awesome event. Can't wait to WrestleMania 31. Can't wait to hear the latest news, if there's any things, sightings, and news?
Well, the latest news, like I said, I heard that he did sign, because I think it looks like a WrestleCon. Someone can find it online. I'm not lying, folks. It's probably been people know by the time I release this, but if I know the video out there saying, you know what, my favorite number is 31, and that's not a coincidence. So yeah, it looks like it's gonna happen. And as far as going back real quick, as far as like the triple threat match, I met Randy Orton and Batista. I mean, having Daniel Bryan in it was great, but I'm not saying like it was bad. I'm just saying that just Orton and Batista by themselves, people weren't feeling it. So Daniel Bryan added a much needed element to it. I mean, great. And overall, it was just fantastic. I really loved John Cena, Bray Wyatt was also good as well. The atmosphere was good. It was no bad match. There was really no bad match. Even Cesaro, he lifted up Big Show the way he did, like Hulk Hogan did to Andre the Giant back in the day. That was amazing. So,
which took place at the I've gotten forked tongue myself. What I should have said rather, the Big Show getting eliminated and body slam over the top rope in the not the Silverdome. For those who know where I'm coming from, who ordered the pay-per-view on pay-per-view, or who saw it in the inaugural.
Well, at least heard of it. At least heard what happened. Whole game messed up. Yeah. But other than that, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The last thing I say about the wrestling before we move on is that Cesaro, if he wants to go big, I guess some people like him. Ever since that the inaugural Honor Giant Battle Royal, he become really, really popular with the wrestling fans, and because he really proved himself, and he can wrestle. There's no doubt about it. But in my opinion, unfortunately, Paul Heyman is kind of holding him back. If he can break away from him.
He's a definite true superstar. Yeah,
if he can break away from him, he can become the next big thing for the company. But right now, I think Paul Heyman, plus the whole Brock Lesnar regular street crap, just really holding him down. It's one of those. I think, and I feel like I'm not the only one. A lot of people, I believe I'm not the only one when I say that. He can blow up bigger without Paul Heyman.
So we definitely grade WrestleMania an A-, a definite Blu-ray. Get it when WrestleMania 30 is released in the month of May, I believe in the middle of May, at your local DVD and Blu-ray provider or on Amazon.com. Now for a touch and a pinch of Pixie Dust Entertainment news. Alex, your verdict, if you will, on George St. Pierre's performance on Captain America 2, Winter Soldier.
First of all, it was probably one of the favorite, good Marvel movie. Out of all of them,
tremendous choreography in that particular fight scene, I must say.
Oh yeah, the fight choreography was amazing. But out of the three Marvel movies, which is Spider-Man, X-Men, Cap, I already know Cap was going to be good because the Marvel Disney hired a good crew of people to helm this franchise, and they're doing the Marvel license, and they're doing an amazing job. Yeah, I was really surprised, because usually when people of that caliber, they have such a small, minute role. It's just one of those things. Like,
could be easily forgettable.
I might be like, oh, I'm a terrorist, stop me, and then Captain America just throws his mighty shield in his face, and he just gets knocked out, and then it's over. You never even see him again. But no, he not only was there for a good minute, he actually had some dialogue at him. He had a pretty good fight with him as well. Mm-hmm. He didn't show up later during an interrogation scene on some footage, so he was pretty well used. He wasn't like, oh, he's here, oh, he's gone. He was there for a good bit. They used him quite well. So rather surprised. Overall, the movie,
highly impactful. Yeah.
Highly impactful. Mm-hmm. It made for a good opening for the film, a good first act. But also the film in general was it was amazing. Him with the fight with the Winter Soldier. At least the first time. The second time around was pretty good. But that first meeting when they were fighting in the streets was just simply phenomenal and unforgettable. And that alone is worth the price of admission. You should definitely go see. If you haven't seen it, go see the movie. It's definitely worth it. It's been #1 for going on 4 weeks now. I mean, I think that's gonna change with Spider-Man, obviously, because a lot of people are looking forward to considering that has like a lot of big villains in this movie, in that movie. So it might change. Most likely it'll change, but Captain America was beating them all. So yeah.
DSP goes Hollywood. Who knows? But last we checked, Winter Soldier is the #1 at the box office, going on week number 4, and now we head into the news as we now go further into the news wire of the Hurt Business that is mixed martial arts, particularly, and the #1 promotion in the Hurt Business, that being that of the UFC. Your take on UFC success and the Florida market, that in particular in our backyard, in our neck of the woods, the city beautiful of Orlando.
I wasn't there personally, but my brother here was here, so this is more for you to say how the environment was in terms of
sellout crowd, the #1 live gate since the UFC Fox merger, the #2 live all time in the history of the Amway arena structures, second only behind, and second by just $30,000 behind the live Eagles concert. I think they found themselves a pretty solid market here in the city beautiful, right here on our neck of the woods in the city of Orlando, Florida. I think the next event should be a pay-per-view. I believe they found reason, and I think my partner and those who are there listening out there at the sound of my voice who are residents here in the city of Orlando or who are residents of the state of Florida, if you bring a good quality cars that consists of up-and-comers and enter in a national and international card consisting of Brazilians, Americans, Cubans, so on and so forth, talents from all over, from both locally and abroad. I mean, you had a woman fight on the card, and you combine up-and-comers with recognizable names like the likes of Thiago Alves, the legend killer Fabrizio Presume. I think that particular card would have done well at any arena. Now, if you bring the mediocre and crappy cards that Dana White brought before in the state of Florida, like what he brought at the USS Sunderland in Tampa, and then the card he brought in Fort Lauderdale, well, you're gonna, you reap what you reap what you sow. And if you bring mediocre cards, you're gonna get mediocre results. Now at UFC 172, your verdict, which was this past weekend, Anthony Rumble Johnson's performance and his victory against Phil Davis, and then of course the main event, John Jones' successful title defense of Gloria Teixeira from the pay-per-view fight that was the event UFC 172 from this past Saturday.
Before I get into that, I'm glad I just remembered this. All my condolences goes to Daniel Bryan's family, because if you watched the Raw the week before leading up to Elimination Chamber, Daniel Bryan's dad passed away. So I wish him the best of luck, and I hope he recovers.
And condolences that was and still is the legend of that of the Ultimate Warrior.
Right. Anthony Rumble Johnson, Phil Davis. I don't know what Phil Davis is. It seemed like with Phil Davis, I think he's gonna get over the top, but then I don't know. He's one of those people like he does great with other fighters, but then when it comes to those big time fights, when it's time for him to shine, he just tends to fail. I don't know what's wrong.
I think it's the opposite, because he shined in the fight against Machida and Alexander Gustafsson. I think in fights that he's expected to win, because I think he was the favorite against. I think that's when he fought, because I think he was also the favorite in his fight against versus Rashad. I think in fights he's expected to win. In my opinion, I think that's where he finds himself slumping.
Nah. As far as John Jones Teixeira, amazing fight. Shadow of a doubt. Not only he beat him, but he beat him in his own game, and he was slipping, dodging punches, and just knocking his mouthpiece out of his mouth.
Scary moments though.
Oh yeah, but also knocking out his mouthpiece like 3 times. I counted. So yeah, he did an impressive fight. So it was a beautifully well-crafted fight from John Jones. I mean, and that's why I think fighters can't really figure him out, because once you think you figured him out, he does something to adjust to it, and he's winning.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Hurt Radio. Till next time, peace. We're out.